Okay, so another way you can actually trail your stop loss, right, is using the average true range indicator, right? So this is something that I will explain later more in depth in the trading examples, but for now, I still want to share this with you, right? So the ATR indicator is this one over here, right? 20 period. I typically use 20 period, right? Especially when I'm trading off the daily time frame because, 1 month there is 20 working days. So you pull out that indicator, right? And you can see that right now, the ATR value, it's about $14. Okay, so let's say again, similar to the previous example, right? You went long somewhere here. How can you actually use the ATR indicator to trail your stop loss? So again, right, what you can do is, since the ATR value is right now is $14, right? So again, there are a few ways you can do this, right? You can use 2 ATR, 3 ATR, whichever you prefer. It really depends on how much open profits you're willing to give back. So in this example, let's take it to 2 ATR, right? So 2 ATR is basically $28, right? Because you know that 1 ATR is $14. So 2 ATR is basically 2 times $14, giving you $28. So let's see how we can do this, right? So the high of this candle is over here, right? Let's go back in time. Let's say this one over here, right? This is the high. The high right now it's about 1273. So you minus $28, you get 1245. So your trailing stop loss will be at 1245, which is somewhere here. All right, let's put this to 1245. Okay, so you can see that as the market moves in your favor, your trailing stop loss will move up accordingly, right? So let's say, so by right, what you can do is that every time the candle make a new high, right, you can actually recalculate your trailing stop loss, right, and just adjust it accordingly. Okay, so usually you can check this once every day or once every few days because your trailing stop loss don't really move much from a day-to-day basis. So what I do personally is that usually when the market spikes and makes a new high, I would then reevaluate my trailing stop loss and then adjust it accordingly. So for example, let's say this candle over here, it made a new high. So I'll just recalculate my trailing stop loss. So the trailing stop loss right now, it's about still $14, you can see. Okay, I think because that's the value we took earlier. But let's assume, it didn't change much, right? It's still about $14. So the high now, the high now of this candle is 1284. So 1284 minus 2 ATR, which is $28. So you get 1256. So you can shift your trailing stop loss to 1256. Right? Your trailing stop loss is here right now. So the market, right, let's move forward, right? The market move until to this high over here. So at this point, what is the ATR value? The ATR value should be around $12.70, right? So let's take 1270 times 2, which gives us $25.40. This is 2 ATR. 2 ATR is equivalent to $25.40. So what's the high of this candle? The high of this candle is 1308. So you take 1308 minus $25.40, you get 1282, right? So you adjust it to about 1282.6. So this is your trailing stop at this point in time. Okay, so if the market closes below this level, right, it has hit your trailing stop loss and you would get out of the trade. Okay, so you can see that at this point you there's really not much point in adjusting your trailing stop loss because no new high is made. So chances are this is possibly going to be the same level as you had earlier. Even if you were to recalculate it, right, it pretty much is around this level, right? So usually, as I've said, right, I usually recalculate it as the market makes a new high in my favor, or low if I'm looking to short the market. So in this example, right, the market is now closed below my trailing stop loss and I would exit the trade, right? So this is how you can use 2 ATR, right, 2 times the average true range to trail your stop loss. Alright, so it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. So with that, I've come to the end of this video and I'll see you in the next